Okay, so we're going to do some graphics here that we're going to eventually put into our video. So I want you to learn a little bit about Illustrator. So Adobe Illustrator is doing vector art versus raster art. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how that works. I'm going to click New File. You probably won't see this. You'll see that you need to click Web, and then you'll have a Web Large option. 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels. And the screen resolution, I'm going to bump it up to 150. And click Create. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is find a logo that I like. Okay, and let's first get this set up. So go to Window, Workspace, and go to Essentials Classic, and then you'll see the 2 rows of tools. We're going to use a lot of these tools today, and learn as many as we can. But the biggest ones you have to learn are Select and Direct Select. Okay, so I'm going to go over this really quick. I have a selection tool, and I want to first draw something on the page. So I'm going to start out with an ellipse. So I click on the shape tool, which is usually a rectangle. I click and hold, and I go to the ellipse tool, and then I hold the shift key down while I make a circle. Okay, I'm going to make this a colored circle. So I'm going to make it green, and I'm going to get rid of the stroke by clicking on the line right here. Okay, you can make it a green that you can look at. I'll make it an orange or something like that you can look at. It's a little easier. So wait, first I get rid of the stroke. There, that's a little easier to look at. No, not that one, this one. Okay. So now let's play around with shapes. So the first thing I'm going to do is move it around. Okay. So if I want to just move a piece of it around, I click on the Direct Select tool, and then I click on one piece, and now I can drag that piece out and do whatever I want with it. Okay. So I'm hit Control Z. Very important to know Control Z. You'll do it all the time. Another thing it'll do is I can grab this on the Direct Select tool, and I can kind of bend these Bezier curves, alright? Don't want to play around with that too much, but I want you to understand it. So I'm going to go back to the Selection tool. Again, moving it. Direct Select allows me to click on one of these points and reshape it. Okay? Control Z. Now, I want to make a copy of it. So to make a copy of it, I want to be in the Selection tool, not the Direct Select tool. And then I'm going to hold down my Alt key. And I'm just going to drag and make a copy of it. I'm going to make another copy of it. Now, if you accidentally hold it down and then you let go of the Alt key first, your last one will disappear. You have to let go of your mouse first. So I'm going to do this again. I click, I hold on the Alt key, I drag, I let go with the mouse, and then I lift up my Alt key. Okay, the Alt key is right by your key, your space bar. Okay, so let's do some things with this. First thing is let's learn to make some shapes. So sometimes you might need like a crescent moon, okay? But there is no crescent moon shape. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take the Selection tool and drag one over the other. Now, first thing you got to know is I'm going to change the color of it so that we can see what's on top and what's on bottom. Okay, right now the green's on top, the orange is on bottom, and I want this crescent moon shape right here, just this piece. So what I did is I put this other circle on top of it. Now I highlight both of them. Then I go over here and it has this feature right here called Pathfinder, and I can click on minus from front. When I click on minus from front, it'll now click and take out whatever's on the top and cut it out of the bottom. So now I have a crescent moon shape. Okay. Now, next thing I'm going to do is show you how to make a wrench. So to make a wrench, I take this circle and I'm going to hold the Alt key down and make another circle down here the same size. Now I'm going to go back to the Shape tool and I'm going to get a rectangle. And I'm going to draw a rectangle just like this. Then I'm going to draw 2 more small rectangles. Boom, right here. So it's just lined up with this. Another one right here. Now I'll move these around so we can see where it's supposed to be. Now I take this, I'm going back to my Selection tool, I'll put it between. Then I'm going to take this one, I'm going to change the color of this one so you can see it. So red, I'm going to change the color of this one to be red too, I think, just so we can see it. Okay, so now we can see those. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is get this base part of the wrench set. Right now it's 3 different pieces. If I pull it apart, it'll start falling apart. I'm going to select through all 3 of these. Once I select through all 3 of them, I can then go to the Align tool right here and click on this. This will align them in exactly the middle. Now I want to get these to be all one shape. So again, just like this one was minus from front, I'm going to just select these and go to Unite. I'm going to click Unite, and now it's all one shape. Looks like a barbell, but it's like the start of our wrench, okay? So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it over the top. Now for some reason it wasn't on top. I'd go to, I'm gonna break it here, arrange, and I'm gonna bring to front. So if it wasn't on top like that, I'd click on it, I'd right click, and I'd say arrange, bring to front. Okay, and I'm gonna kind of just put it right here, and I'm gonna take this other one. Oh, this one is behind, and I'm gonna arrange, bring to front, like that. And then I want these all to be centered again, so I'm gonna highlight through all of them, and I'm gonna click the center align, and they move just a little bit, which is great. All right, so now I'm just going to select all of it again. So again, I'm still on my selection tool, and I select all of it again, and I'm going to go minus from front. There's my wrench. But let's give it a metal shine to it or something like that. So I'm going to go to fill up here where it's orange, and I'm going to go into the little library here, and I'm going to look for something called gradients. So I look down here to gradients, and I'm going to look for metals. There it is. Now my metals come up, and I can click one of these metals, and it'll give me sort of a metal surface to this wrench. Give me a little bit of a gradient. So there, I've got my wrench. Okay. I'm going to shrink it up. To shrink it up, I don't want to shrink it like that. I want to hold the shift key down and get it nice and proportional and move it right up here. So those are our first two shapes that we're creating. Okay. Now, let's say I want to get sort of a different shape. Let's see if I can come up with something. So I take the circle, and I still got that color going, so that's fine. I'm going to hold the Alt key down and make another one, kind of overlap these. And I want them to be aligned this way, so I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to click on this right here, vertical align. So now they're vertically aligned. What I want is this shape in the middle, and there's no shape to make that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure they're both highlighted, and then I go over here to this, which is to take the intersection. So I'm going to click intersect. Now it'll give me just that shape. Now you can see that kind of looks like a football. So I can make it a little shorter. Now if I don't hold down the shift key, it makes kind of a fat football. Okay, so now I'm gonna make it a little bigger in general by holding the shift key down, make it bigger, and I'm gonna rotate it. Now if I just rotate it like this, it'll be freeform. I want to actually rotate it to 45 degrees and then 90 degrees. So I hold the shift key down, 45, 90. It'll go just like that. Okay. So now let's bring it down here. Now football doesn't really have pointy edges like this, so when I click on it, I could, try to erase part of it or whatever. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to the direct select tool up here. The minute I do that, you'll see these little circles appear down here, and there's one on both sides. Now I can just do one side by just clicking off of it and then just clicking back on just this one point and grabbing this and bringing it in like that. Or when I first select the whole thing with a selection tool, and then I go to the direct select, now it should do both of them at the same time, so they're the equal distance. So now you've got a football shape. Okay, so now I'm going to change the color of that. Let's see if that looks good. Not really. So I'm going to go to my fill, and I'm going to get more of a solid brown, like that, maybe a little lighter. Yeah, that's good. Now, I'm going to put seams on the football, so I'm going to draw a rectangle. Now the seams, I'm going to make them brown for now, but then I'm going to fix them. Okay. Now, you could sit here and draw all the seams individually like this, and take the tool and go Alt and just drag them apart like this, and you'll see that they get kind of messed up because they're not going to be the same distance apart. Okay, so I'm just kind of putting as many of these seams in as I can, but I want them to look bright. I want them to look equal and stuff like that. So I'm going to at least get the two ends to look pretty close to the same. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight. I'm not going to get the center, or actually I can highlight the whole thing, and I can say vertical align center. So now it's vertical align center. Now the problem is these are all gapped funny, but if I go to here, go to the three dots and go down to distribute right here like that, it'll put it like that. Now that's not quite what I wanted. I'm going to go back, Control Z. I forgot that I had this part selected. I want to just select the tops of these so that I have just those selected. And now I want to go to the three dots and select them. And now they are equidistant apart. Okay, and I'm going to turn them into one shape. So I'm going to highlight them, and I'm going to go to merge. Now they're merged. Now I can make it a white. And I'm going to click off of it and click back on it, and I'm going to drag it back up to here, and I'm going to make it much smaller like that. So now I've got a football. Okay. Okay, and now I'm going to drag and select the whole thing, and I'm just going to make sure it's aligned correctly. It looks like it is. So I clicked the vertical line, it went in place, and then I'm going to group it. So now I take the shift key and I make this smaller so it fits with my other objects up here. Alright, so let's see what other shapes we have. We did the rectangle. There's a round rectangle. I don't use that a lot. It's very restricting. This flare tool, I had never seen anybody use that. So I'm going to go with a polygon next, okay? So we're going to create something with a polygon. So I start out like this. I start drawing, and it's a triangle, or maybe it's not. But if I want more sides, while I've got it selected, I'm going to hit the up arrow, and it'll add sides, like that. Okay, so I'm going to make a stop sign. So to make a stop sign, I drag it down here. I'm going to change the color to red. That's not red. So that's a really bright red. I want more of a fire engine red. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the library, and I'm going to find me earth tones and see if I can find a red that's a little more earthy looking. There we go. That's what I want right there. Okay, so I've got my stop sign, and again, when I made it, I held down the shift key so that it was right size. If I want to make it smaller or bigger, I got to hold down the shift key, otherwise it'll get all whacked. So I'm going to go Control Z. Now, the first thing I want to do here is I want to add some letters to it to say stop. So I'm going to take the text tool. Now, when I click the text tool and I click somewhere, it says lorem ipsum, which is Greek. Don't even worry about that. That's just showing you there's text there. The next thing you do is start typing S-T-O-P-O. S-T-O-P in all caps. That's what I'm going to do, because that's what a stop sign looks like. And then I'm going to grab the corner and hold the shift key down and make it bigger. Now, this doesn't look like the font they'd use. I'm going to try to find a font that'd be a little better. I just look over here. Nope. Nope. Tell you what, I'll go with that. It's close enough. Okay, I don't know why it looks funny to me, but it does. But I'm going to change it to white, just for now. And I'm going to then click it and move it into place on the stop sign as best I can. And then I'm going to highlight through it, and I'm going to make sure it's centered vertically and horizontally. So now I know it's exactly in the middle. And I'm not going to group it yet because I want to do one more thing. Stop signs typically have like a white line around the outside. I don't know if you've ever seen a stop sign carefully like that and looked at it, but they have sort of a white line on the inside. So what I want to do is I want to make this a little bit smaller. So I'm going to hold the shift key down and make this stop sign a little bit smaller like this. And then I'm going to make sure it's aligned where I want it just for now. Not even sure I need to do this yet, but I'm going to do it. Okay, so I want to make two more pieces that are exactly the same. Now I could sit here and go, all right, I'm going to copy it, hold the Alt key down, make another copy like this, and I can make it a little bigger, and I can kind of fit it behind it, make it white. That's all a bunch of extra work. So I'm going to just go in and click on just this. I have the selection tool selected. I clicked on this. Now I go to Object, Path, Offset Path. It gives me a line on the outside. I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to go Object, Path, Offset Path. One more time. Okay. And just so you know, it's 10 pixels. I put it to a miter and 4 miter limit. Okay. Click OK. And now there's 3 different shapes here. Okay. I'm going to click on the second shape, and I'm going to make it white. That gives us that stripe that we want for a stop sign. Okay. So another thing is I'm just going to select through just the shapes, and I'm going to group them because I don't want them to move by accident. If I don't group them, let me hit Control Z. If I don't group them and actually move them around, they're out of place. So I want to make sure I group them. I'm not selecting stop though. I'm just selecting the shapes, and I'm saying group. Then I'm going to select all of it again, and I'm going to go center, center to make sure it's centered. Now it looks pretty darn good. Okay, so now I'm going to take it, select it, and I'm going to group it. I can group it here, I can group it here, or I can do Control G and group it, but I'll group it here for now. Okay, so now we've got the stop sign. Put that up here. So you want to draw a couple shapes. Now, next thing I'm going to do is do a star. Okay, so the star is the next shape, and I use the star tool. And when I drag it, that's my star, but maybe I want it to have more points. Just like the octagon or the polygon, I can just up or down to get more, and I might make it a burst like this. Okay, so I take this and I go ahead and make it a little bit smaller. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take and draw a line through it. Okay, and the reason I'm doing this, first of all, let me try to get it lined up so that a point is at the top. So let me try to see if I can get it to lock in with one of these pointing pretty much straight up. That's pretty close. I think that's pretty close. 270, 271. Look at my degrees down here. Close enough. Alright, so you get a shape like this. Now, I want to cut it in half. So I'm going to take a line tool. This line tool, make sure it's a line segment tool. And I'm just going to draw right through the middle. So I start here, I click, and I drag, and I hold the shift key down so it's a perfect straight line. Okay, and I'm not worried about it being too straight, but now I can actually see, though, that it's not straight. So I'm going to highlight just the line, and I'm going to make it 1 point big so I can see it. Okay, so now I'm going to take this, I'm going to rotate it just a little bit so that it is lined up. Okay, so now it's cutting right through the middle of it. I think I like that. Okay, so now I highlight the whole thing, and I go to the Shape Builder tool. This is another tool. The Shape Builder tool allows me to just click on this half, and then click on this half. Now, I click on the Selection tool, click off of it, and I can actually separate these into two pieces. And now you see I have this little line left over. I'm just going to select those and delete them. Now I'm going to bring these back together, and I'm going to change the color of one to orange. Man, I guess I like orange too much. Alright, so I've got orange, and now I'm going to group it. And you know, like, this might be a good opportunity to like create a logo with a letter in the middle or something like that. But the idea is that now you know how to create a star, you know how to create, split things in half. I'm going to make a basketball too, just to kind of go through the process on this. Is I'm going to take a ellipse tool, make a circle like that, and then I'm going to take this same circle and I'm going to go Alt up with it, grab me one copy, grab another copy like that. I'm going to change the color of these two. So I'm going to go to this one, change it to be, doesn't matter, I'm going to change it to be a noxious color because we're not going to use it. So I'm going to put this one to that color and then click on this one over here and make this one an obnoxious color. Okay. I need a little bit more room, but you can just scroll down a little bit and just move it right here, move it right here, and now I've got to do some messing around because I want this to be right in the middle. So I'm going to start out by taking this and just lining up the bottom things. Like you'll see a little dot when it appears. So now they're kind of aligned middle, I think, or pretty close. These will give me the two lines I want. So I want the basketball to have these two cuts right here. And then I'm going to have a cut through the middle. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of these, make sure they're center aligned. So now they're center aligned. And I'm going to use the Shape Builder tool again. Now this time, I'm going to click on this, click on this, click on this. But now I'm going to hold down the Alt key and draw a line through this part. And draw a line through that part. So let's get rid of them, okay? So now I've got the shapes of the basketball, and they're a little off center, but that's alright. So I'm going to change the colors of these so you can see them a little bit better. So I'm going to go with orange here, and then I'm going to go with a dark orange here, and back to a light orange here. Now something has happened here, so let's figure out what that is. There's either a piece behind there that's an extra. Yep, I'm getting rid of that. There. So now I've got sort of a basketball, and then I could put a stripe through the middle like this, and I hold the shift key down, and now I could cut it if I wanted to. So I select all of it, and then I use the Shape Builder tool, and again I just click like that, and it got rid of the color, but that's okay. I'm just going to delete this part, and now I go back into these parts, and I'm just going to make sure I click right on the edge of them. Now I can color them back in to be different colors. So I'm going to use another version of orange, and maybe on this part I'll make it just another bit of orange. Let's see if this one works. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so now I've got sort of a funky basketball color, but the idea is that it's still broken apart in different pieces. And I didn't do a perfect job, but you can get the idea. So then you select all of these and you group them back together, and you've got your next shape going pretty good. Okay, so now let's do the next shape. It's going to be a flower. Alright, so you take a circle, elliptical tool right here. You can draw a circle, hold the shift key down while you draw it. Now you're going to make it you're going to use the direct select tool and you're going to click once right there, and then you're going to hit the up arrow, and then you hold the shift key down when you hit the up arrow and it'll go faster. Give it sort of this egg shape. This is going to be our leaf, our petal. And I'm going to go to the direct select tool, click right on this piece right here, and then I'm going to make it sharp like that. So I went over here to connect, to convert. Let me do Control Z. First I clicked off it, and then I click right on that piece with the direct select tool, and then I go to this point tool like that. Okay, so now I've got the point tool. I'm going to move it down. Now, I want to rotate this around. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to rotate it holding the shift key down so that it rotates perfectly. Boom, boom, like that. Now it's 90 degrees. Let's make it a different color because you're probably sick of orange by now. Let's go with this color. Yeah. And then I'm going to make it a little thinner because I want my petals to be a little thinner. Okay, so I didn't hold down the shift key while I did that. Now I've got this here, and I want to use the rotate tool. The rotate tool is got 2 moves to it. So you click on it, and then you have this blue circle right here. The next place you click is a place it's going to rotate around. I'm going to click right there. That's what I want it to rotate around. Now I go back up to here, and I hold the Alt key down, and I drag it just a little bit. Then I hold the Control D down until it goes all the way around. I'm going to slow down a little bit at the top. And you can see it's a little off, but that's okay. And then I'm going to select it. And I'm going to bring down the opacity so you can see what it's done here a little bit. It's kind of created this cool pattern for you. Okay. So then I select it all, because if I don't select it all, it's just broken into pieces. Okay. Control Z twice. I select it all, and then I'm going to group it. You can group here, you can group here. So I group it, and then I hold the shift key down, and I drag it like this. Okay. So there's my different shapes I've created so far. Let's play around with text a little bit on the next step. Okay, so I'm going to take my name and type in Kyle. And I'm just going to play around with my name. It'll probably look bad, but that's alright. I'm going to make it bigger. Again, I want a thick font. I'm going to create outlines. So I click Create Outlines, like that. And the next thing I'm going to do is ungroup it. Now, these are actually shapes now. They're not letters anymore. But I want to try to play around with my letters and see if I can make it turn into something interesting. I'm not sure it'll look good, but I'm going to try to play around with this. So I'm going to put the K and the Y over each other like that. I'm going to have the L kind of come out of here so it keeps consistent with the spelling. Kind of, I can see that some things may not align perfect, but now I'm going to take the E, put it right in there. I don't love that. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the K, I'm going to turn it around like that. And I'm going to do an L. No, I'm going to put the Y. Let me see where I'm going to put the Y. So I'm going to play around with that there. Get it aligned as best top I can. But if I can't align it top, I select both. And I say top line. Okay, so now it should be lined up perfect. And I'm just going to put this on top. Or am I? Let me see where I'm going to put it. I might put down. Nope. Maybe there. I want to have it make sense though. So I'm going to do it here. Just come up with a weird design with your letters of your name. Okay, like no one would know that's Kyle, but that could be considered Kyle in a logo or something like that. Maybe I'll move it over so it's a little more. Yeah, so that's my logo. Okay, so now I take that and I'm going to select it. Because they're shapes, I'm going to merge them. This gives me sort of a weird shape for my name. But now I can kind of play around with it, and I'm going to change the shape of some of the letters. So maybe I would take the direct select tool, and I click on this piece right here. I'm going to use my arrow key and just bring it over like that, have it overlap. And maybe I'll do the same thing here. And I'm going to go down like that, like that. I'm just playing around with letters. And then I'm going to merge it again. Oh, which I can't because they're not multiple objects, but it looks fine. So we're going to do that. I don't like that. I'm going to go back to where I was. Control Z, keep on hitting Control Z until I get it back where it should be. Okay. So now I think what I'm going to do instead is kind of play around with cutting it again. So I'm going to use the line tool and just draw a couple lines through it, like right here. And maybe another one right here. Like that. Now if I want to be able to see those lines, I have to select through all of it. And then I'm going to go to the shape builder tool and I'm just going to click top, middle, bottom. Okay, now I can get rid of the lines, so I have to be careful to not leave those there. I'm going to get rid of the lines that are extras. And there's some over here. Let's see if I can just get the lines. There's one. And nope, that's not the one. Let's see, where is it? Yep, it's down here. So I'm going to just select through it there. Delete it. Okay, now I've got these two shapes. And I'm just going to create two colors. So I'm going to hide that. I'm going to change this to be green. And this one to be maybe a different green. Yeah, you know, I kind of like that, so I'm going to go with that. So then just kind of coming up with the design with my name, and then the Y I'm going to make even different green, maybe a really bright green. Yeah, doesn't go together great. Let's see if I can film something else. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so something like that. So now I've created a logo out of my name. Now I can still break it apart, so I want to go ahead and go select it and group it. So do something fun with your name like that. So this is our next shape, but it's showing how you can use letters and change, kind of mix them together and make something else by breaking them apart. The last one I'm going to show you is we're going to actually have to require to go out to a browser. So I'm going to go to a browser. Let me open up Google Chrome, and I'm going to do a quick search for any old clip art I want. So I'm going to look for a Nike logo, because that's what everybody always wants. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to go to images, and this is the logo I want. So I'm going to right click on it and copy image. Then I'm going to bring it over here and I'm going to Command V and put it in here. Now you see it has a white background to it. I don't want that. So I'm going to go to image trace, and I'm going to go to silhouette. Boom. That knocked out the background, gave me the nice graphic I have here. Now I'm going to do one more thing with it. So I'm going to change the color of it, to the fill, to a red, but it won't let me because it's a silhouette. So I'm going to expand it, and then I'm going to click on it again, and now I should be able to change the color to a red. Okay, so now you've got your logo, and it's a Nike logo and it has no background. So now I could actually put this into a video as something animated or whatever. Now if I wanted to, I could also do some other things with it, like let's say I want to make it rip, so I'm going to add a circle like this, and then I'm going to use a rectangle like this, and I'm just going to try to form it into something that looks drippy. So I'm going to go like that, and there's sort of the bubble head right there. Now I'm not liking how that's looking yet, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this top part, go to the direct select tool, and I'm going to widen this part out. Oop, gotta click right on the edge. Right on the top of that, and I'm going to widen this part out like that, so that it looks more like it's starting to drip down. But now I want to curve it, so I'm going to use the curvature tool. This is the curvature tool. I'm just going to kind of curve this in there, and curve this like this. And I'm actually going to grab this piece with the curvature tool. I can still do it. And I'm going to grab this piece and go down to here. And then I want to have this come out to the edge of the bubble. Like that. And I want to have these kind of come in a little bit more. I guess I can't because it's going to cut into the logo, but now it's sort of looking kind of drippy, you know. So I've got that, and then maybe I want to add, I might just take this part right here, go Alt, and just bring it over. So I made a copy of it, and then just kind of shrink it, and I'm going to shrink it even more. And I'm going to, I want it to drip in the same direction, but I want it to look a little different. So I'm just going to use the curvature tool and just change it just a little bit so it looks a little different than the other one. And I'm going to put that in here like that, a little lower. I'm going to rotate it maybe a little. Nah, I like it there. Control Z, Control Z. I want it to be angled the same, so I'm going to put it right there. So not really that cool, but let me see if I can make it better. Let me grab the curvature tool, bring that out like this. Now it looks more like it's kind of bubbling up a drip to come next. So you can kind of play around with something like that, but take a logo and modify it, then take the whole thing and merge it. Go to Unite. And now I've created a drippy version of the Nike logo. Okay, but play around with some other logos, or find some clip art. So let's say you want to use a clip art of a basketball team. So I'm going to pick a basketball team that I like, which is the Pistons, but they have a boring logo. I'm going to go with the Bulls. logo. And I'm going to grab it. I want to get more of a solid logo though. That's not really a good one for this one. This one's kind of cool. So let's say I copy this image, come over here and I paste it, Control V. That's good, that's huge, that's good. So I'm going to shrink it down, holding the Shift key down. And now I might want to take it and do an image trace. Now I'm going to count the colors here. Black, gray, red. I think that's 3. So I'm going to try 3. So I go to image trace and I go to 3 colors. And it's tracing it. It's probably going to wreck it. We'll see what happens. We might have to go to 4 or 6 colors. Yep, looks great to me actually. Okay, so then expand and ungroup. And now I can click off of it, click on this piece, hit delete. And I can get rid of the bowls part if I want. Up here. And then I can group this back together, and I'll just select all this. I'll create my, oops, I missed a piece. Make sure I select all of it. I'm going to move it down here, and I'm just going to change the colors. I'm going to select this red right here. Now, all these other reds don't match this red, so luckily I can just go select same fill color. And then I'm going to change it to be a purple. Like that, and maybe I'll change the gray. So I'll select the gray and I'll go select same fill color, and I'll pick another color other than that one, maybe a more purpley like that. Okay, so now I've created a purple version of the logo for the bowls, and then I'll group it, and now I have a logo that I can use, and it has a transparent background. So guys, play around with these, learn how to create these graphics for your videos, and you'll come up with some cool stuff that you can use.